The movie Uncharted has a huge problem, and I cannot overlook it. Before I go into this, let me take you back to the tender year of 2014, and the playful, dosed tones of everyone's favorite voice actor, Nolan North, sets up what would be the finale of our favorite treasure hunter, Nathan Drake. And after 3 years of development, the game finally releases, and it is met with overwhelming praise, and the reviews are near perfection. The game franchise concludes, and everyone is happy, because we saw Drake's life from a man with a desire for treasure to a man who, if it weren't for his adventures, wouldn't be living his best life with his family, and we wouldn't have it any other way. Now fast forward to 2020, and we're being told that the Uncharted movie has finally been removed from development hell and has begun filming. And the response? Mixed, to say the least. The casting is weird, Sully doesn't have his trademark mustache, Tom Holland and his weird over-the-top New York accent, as my mom stated.
Well, you know my brother Sam?
How the entire movie is centered around Drake's brother, who wasn't even a thing until the 4th game in the series, and just everything in this movie feels disjointed and overall not the Drake we know and for the most part grew up with. My stepdad himself even said that it's not a movie for the fans, it's a movie for people who like Tom Holland. And I somewhat agree. Now, I have absolutely nothing against old Peter 1 here, but Hollywood needs to realize that just because an actor is rising in popularity doesn't mean he should be in every upcoming movie. For crying out loud, you're overworking the poor guy. He literally decided to take a break from acting because you keep giving him roles. It's ridiculous. I watched the movie last night with my family, and I'm going to be very blunt. I went into this movie not for the actors or even the plot, but purely for any references they make about the games. And to be honest, I can count the references I liked on my hand, and the majority of the ones I caught but didn't react to aren't even that cool. Especially the things that they took directly from the games, primarily the 4th in the franchise.
Uncharted 4, you too. I assume you've played this game.
I have played this game. This game was actually my first introduction into the Uncharted world.
Okay, this is probably the reason why the movie's made.
Yeah, I think this game is the one that we took most inspiration from.
Right.
I think my biggest pet peeve with this movie is that it isn't about Drake or Sully. It's about Sam.
Well, you know my brother Sam?
Everything is centered around Sam Drake, a character we see a total of 2 times throughout this film. In the first 15 minutes, so many changes were made. Sam already has the ring of Drake. Their last name is already Drake. Sam is forced to leave the church after they sneak out, all in the span of 15 minutes. So much backstory and character moments were skipped for the sake of plot convenience. Not to mention, this movie's existence blatantly contradicts the events of the games. Example, Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception is the game where we first see our titular characters meet for the first time. Drake is at the tender age of 15 and Sully is 40 years old. However, in the movie, Drake is now in his 20s, same as the actor portraying him, and movie Sully is most likely the same age as Mark Wahlberg, respectively. In the game, Drake is a drifter. His appearance is dirty and rugged, but you can tell that he shares the same mind as the character we've spent 2 games with. His signature catchphrase he's had throughout the series comes along with him as well.
Ah, crap.
Crap.
And out of the corner of the player's eye, we see our soon-to-be cigar-smoking partner in crime, Sully, his signature mustache and all. As you progress through the chapter, you tail Sully throughout the city of Cartagena because both you and Sully are after the same artifact inside a museum, the Ring of Sir Francis Drake. Sully gets a key made for the display case, and Drake pickpockets him in order to steal the key for himself, which he pulls off until Sully catches him. Rather than being angry at him, he decides to give him pointers, and despite Drake being caught, he still tries to swindle it from him. He fails, but Sully sees something in this kid, something almost as if he sees himself. He's reminiscing about his younger years, and he sees that in Drake. But Drake proves that even some rookies have some talent of their own, and he manages to get the key for himself without Sully knowing. Now we go on to Drake and Sully's first meeting in the movie, and things are already off to a rocky start. Drake, in his first adult appearance, is now a bartender in an upscale bar in New York, and Sully just kinda appears in the bar, and that's how they meet. In my opinion, that is the worst way they could have introduced a character as beloved as Sully. He just shows up, clean-shaven, and asks this kid he just met, "Hey kid, you wanna rob an auction house with me?" Okay. Any semblance of Drake's original personality is just gone from the movie's Nathan Drake, to the point that if you look at the two characters from a personality standpoint, it's night and day. Video game Drake is cocky, smart-mouthed, and charismatic, while Tom's Nathan is like Peter Parker, joke very much intended, trying to be a treasure hunter. He's naive, he's too trustful in others, and just lacks the overall original franchise's charm. Like, you could change the name of these characters and rename the movie Lost and Found, like a phrase they keep repeating throughout the entire movie, but kept the plot. It might have actually done better in the box office than being under the name Uncharted. This movie in all cost $120 million to make, and considering the ratings and reviews that are hitting this movie right now, I doubt they'll get their money back. 38% on Rotten Tomatoes and 47% on Metacritic is insane. This movie released on the 18th, which is the exact day I'm writing this script. There might be a chance it could change, but I doubt it. In my honest opinion, this movie shouldn't have taken the route it did. It tried to make someone a character we've known for years in the span of 2 hours, and it didn't work. This movie has what I call Gotham Syndrome, where in that show's case, they wanted to make Batman as soon as possible, and at the very end of Season 5, we get Baby Batman's reveal. Because the actor playing Bruce was no older than 17 during the finale of the series, and you can definitely tell. Oh boy, what a disaster of a reveal. The only reason I'm making this comparison is because they tried to do the exact same thing with Tom's Drake in this movie. They tried to make Tom become the Nathan Drake in the games as fast as possible without any regard to the character the studio has written so far. Drake towards the beginning of this movie is such a disconnect from the renowned treasure hunter we all know and love, because they centered his entire character around his brother Sam, which really disappointed me from a writing standpoint, because Nathan Drake himself is nothing like he is in this movie. Personality-wise, it's not even close, not by a long shot. The video game Drake, he is his own character. while Tom's character is only supported by the fact that he cares about his brother, and that's all he talks about.
Well, you know my brother Sam?
It isn't necessary for him to be talking about his brother the entire time of this movie. And it was such a disappointment to see that happen with this character that I love so much. Another thing that I've seen people mention is how this movie uses sequences from the game to implement into the movie. Like the plane scene, which was seen in almost every trailer. Even though that exact same scenario happens in the third Uncharted game, which was released 11 years ago. This entire scene is purely for the people who played the game and no one else. They're trying to use nostalgia to win over their audience, and it didn't work. My final thoughts is that if Sony is to continue to use these two in the lead roles, make Tom and Nolan North, who was the original voice of Nathan Drake, do line rehearsal or even coaching so he can learn to deliver his lines as Nathan Drake would from a live action standpoint. And Mark should really sound more gruff than what he gave us in the film. Just his overall performance I was presented with was disappointing to say from a consumer of this franchise. And I'm hoping that if a sequel does get greenlit, they learn from their mistakes. But considering how things are right now, it isn't likely. Hey, thanks for watching. Please feel free to like and subscribe, and if you want, take a trip down there to the comment section and tell me what you thought. I'd love to hear your feedback. And if you want to see more videos like this, I have others up on my channel, as well as some games if you want to see me completely rip my hair out, because I get frustrated easily. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.